A bittersweet Sunday. NFL football is officially in the books until next season, but what a way to go out. We break down Super Bowl 55 plus.
He came in my room and he said, "You need to get out of bed." And I was like, "What's the problem?" He's like, "You need to get up now." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Your mom's dead."
Tragedy strikes
After tragedy strikes a Beechwood football player, teammates, coaches, and parents stepped up and stood by his side, literally, during their championship season. And it was a long 25 days away, but Bearcats basketball is back. So how do they look? We'll ask Terry Nelson.
From WCPO 9 Sports, this is Sports of All Sorts.
What up? Welcome to Sports of All Sorts. I'm Reggie Wilson. We were supposed to have both crosstown basketball teams in action on Sunday, on Super Sunday, but Ms. Rona got in the way once again. Xavier only got to enjoy one game before COVID hit the program and postponed the schedule yet another time. X is expected to get back on the court on Thursday, but we did get a chance to see the Bearcats play today. More on them in a bit, but we have to start with Super Bowl 55. Bucks hosting the Chiefs, a rematch from late November in which KC won. Tampa, like MJ, apparently took that one personally. First quarter, down 3, Tom Brady hits Rob Gronkowski in the flat, and he does the rest. Here's a Super Bowl Gronk spike. Bucks up 7-3, trying to add on in the second, but Ronald Jones is stuffed. Short of the end zone on fourth down, Chiefs can't do anything on the turnover, so Brady hits Gronk again for 6, and it's 14-3. After a Kansas City field goal, they left Brady with too much time before the half, and call God. Antonio Brown touchdown, 21-6 now. Second half, more domination. Patrick Mahomes trying to hit former Bearcat Travis Kelce for the score, but it's picked off by Devin White, and the Bucks win in dominant fashion, 31-9. Kelce, he had over 100 yards, but no win. Brady wins Super Bowl MVP.
The team had a lot of confidence. We came together at the right time. I think we knew this was going to happen tonight, didn't we? We ended up playing our best game of the year.
Whew, what a stunning game. Bucks are the first team to win the Super Bowl on their home turf. Here with me to talk about it is Princeton head coach Mike Daniels. Coach, how you doing?
Doing wonderful. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm doing much better than the Chiefs are doing. Yikes. So, Coach, what are your thoughts after the Bucks come away with that one and the manner in which they did, too?
Well, I think what we all saw was the Buccaneers peaking at the right time and being able to get things organized and peak at the right time in terms of the team, offensive, defensively, being able to run the ball and figure things out as far as who they were offensively and how they wanted to attack the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think, as we all know, it's hard to beat a team twice. And so I think that the Buccaneers were able to kind of figure some things out from the first time as they were peaking. And I think also that we are the offensive line issues that the Chiefs have, those injuries were major, and they showed up major. And so that was one thing that I didn't know about. I thought the Chiefs would be able to figure some things out, but what you saw was a Todd Bowles defense that was able to dominate the trenches and things up front. And so I think that was the major difference of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that pass rush got after it against one of the other GOATs tonight like they did Rodgers a couple weeks ago. Tom Brady, though, he goes 21 of 29 for 201 yards, 3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, I should say, and wins his 5th Super Bowl MVP. Goes through Breeze, Rodgers, and now Mahomes to get it. What more can we say about him other than he's the GOAT?
He is the undisputed GOAT. And to be able to do it in a sport like football, to go to 10 Super Bowls and win 7, that's remarkable. And so when you're talking about a guy who had the opportunity to come to a new team and at 43 years old to dominate that way and win in a dominant fashion, it's remarkable. And that's why we call him the undisputed GOAT at this point.
Yeah, Coach. On the other side, Mahomes was under duress all night. He threw it 49 times, 270 yards, 2 picks. It just wasn't his night, was it?
It wasn't his night, and it wasn't the Chiefs' offense night. You saw some major drops. You saw one earlier in the game by Travis Kelce, and just they weren't as in sync. And you can also get the credit to the defense because they made things uncomfortable. And what they did was they said Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill is not going to beat us, and we're going to force you to make somebody else beat us. And so what you saw was 2 high safeties, a lot of man under coverage on those guys, and they shift their coverage to those 2 guys, and it was kind of a boxing 2, if you will, if you understand it from a basketball term. And they said the other guys have to beat you, and then you add that with the issues that the Chiefs were having at the tackle position, and then they were able to earlier on get some calls in the first half and kind of took control of the game. And so and they came out the second half and just kept pressing forward with that dominance on defense.
Coach, you're a coach. You know the grind. How awesome must this be for Bruce Arians? He's a football lifer, retired a few times, comes back, and he gets a ring.
It was amazing on so many different levels. You talk about a guy who he's kind of unorthodox in how he go about his business, the risk it, no biscuit type of personality. And so, which is untraditional. And so for him to be able to go win it with that style in that area, and also be able to do it with, 3 minority coordinators was a special thing. And so big ups to Coach for being able to go win it all and kind of stick to his guns. They had some early season struggles, and when you listen to his press conference, he kind of understood and knew what was going to happen. And so, like I said, big up to him for being able to secure a Super Bowl win, and congratulations to those boys. And also congratulations to our Cincinnati own Mike Edwards. I know that, Wentwood's grad, and being able to go get him a Super Bowl ring is amazing. And so bringing a Super Bowl champion back to Cincinnati means a lot.
For sure, we definitely congratulate Mike. Well, Coach, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, Sunday turned out to be a good Sunday to go back-to-back, well, at least for UC. Coming up, we break down another winning effort from those Cardiac Cats in their return to the court after nearly a month away. Bearcats with their second game in 4 days taking on Tulane. Last game's hero, David DeJulius, came out firing again. 3 of his 12 points, UC led by 2 at the half. Let's go to the second. 7-point game. Keith Williams goes off. 3-ball cash cuts the UC deficit to 4. After another Williams bucket, he's at it again on the break. That layup ties the game. Just a smooth 7-0 run, that's all. He's not done on the break. Williams throws it down. Game high 20 points for the senior. Bearcats down 1. Coach Brandon is playing walk-ons and freshmen. Mason Madsen only scored 3 points, and they were huge. Gives UC the 1-point lead. Less than a minute to play. Bearcats down 1 off the Williams miss. Tari Eason is cleanup man. Go-ahead bucket, 2 of his 13 points. Last chance for Tulane. But the jumper, that's off. DeJulius comes up with the rebound and clutch free throws, and the Bearcats win 64-61.
We have our 5th straight road game on Thursday. Just so you guys know, that is an AAC record. Nobody's ever done that before. So our young men went from Dallas to Wichita to Philadelphia to here, and then in the middle of it, had a 25-day break, and are 3-1 in that time period. So extremely proud.
So UC gets back-to-back wins for the first time this season, both on the road. And here with me to talk about it is none other than the Hall of Famer, former Bearcat Terry Nelson. Terry, what are your initial thoughts after watching the Bearcats win their second straight?
Well, I was proud of the fact that they got to win, and they just found a way to win. They didn't play particularly well, but I thought the way they offensively rebounded the basketball, I thought the way they were opportunistic in their fast breaks with, deflections and getting hands on the ball and rip outs for steals. Anytime they can create offense from their defense, it bodes well because the offense, the way it's constructed, spacing, cuts. You really can't focus just on one primary person with the basketball. And so because that matchup zone that Tulane likes to play began to get stretched all over the place, and it was morphing. Everybody tries to play this old Tarkanian amoeba style defense where it just sort of mimics whatever the offense is doing. But with the offense movement that Cincinnati has, where nobody's standing still except the person who's in the opposite side corner for sort of a pressure valve, it makes the defense collapse all over the place. And Cincinnati found those pockets, whether it was, only the 6 threes that they had or the shots that led to an offensive rebound because of they collapsed the defense and guys going for the block shot, which pulled them away from the basket for rebound opportunities.
Keith Williams played like the best player on the team with a game-high 20 points. Do you see this type of performance keeping up for him?
If he doesn't foul, Keith can score like this on any given night. His problem is shot selection and foul trouble. He's fouled out of 5 games last year, 3 games this year. You look at what his first year, he was averaging 0.7 fouls per game. His second year, he was averaging 2.2. Last year, he averaged 2.9. This year, he's averaging 3.3. So as the fouls continue to mount, his production is where it should be. Now, when he's not fouling, I think he only had 2 fouls today. When he's not fouling, he can score. The problem with that, once again, is shot selection. If he catches the ball and shoots, if he drives and attacks the basket for layups, that's great. But if he's off balance, going to his left, trying to shoot it back over his right shoulder, fadeaway shots where he can't rebound the basketball, those are bad shots. The problem with that was, or the blessing in that thing was, when he's going across the lane, shooting those wild shots that are bad shots, it's pulling the defense away who's trying to contest it. Guys like Tari Eason, who had 5 offensive rebounds, continue to make the game-winning basket on that putback. So there are some good and some bad that go along with Keith. But today you saw more good than bad, and I'll take that any day.
The team battled through some adversity in the second half, and unlike earlier this season, found a way to win. What does that say about their growth, and where might that lead them the rest of the way?
Well, they know they were close. All the games that they lost, other than, maybe the Georgia game, they were in it, and they had a chance to win. So if they don't put themselves in too big of a hole, then they know they're going to climb back in, because the defense, the way it's constructed, the way the offense moves, they know they're going to get some opportunities to get back in the game. It's just a matter of, can they make the shots that are reboundable, take the shots that's reboundable, and can they not put themselves in such a big hole? Double-digit leads, 15 points or less are easy to come by in college basketball, and they're easy to lose in college basketball, especially with a young team. This young, inexperienced team, they get down in holes, but that's because of shot selection, because of defensive breakdowns. But the minute they put it together for a 2 to 3 minute stretch, they erase those deficits very quickly, which is they always find themselves within a 1 or 2 possession game going down the stretch. And they're comfortable enough, because they've been in so many of these games, to now they're starting to get over the hump and overcome those objections.
Terry, as always, I appreciate your insight. Take care. So I want to hear from you. The Bearcats come back from 25 days off to back-to-back wins. My question is, how will they turn out the rest of the season? Tweet me at Reggie Wilson TV and make sure to use the hashtag SOAS. A local football player's world turned upside down with the sudden loss of his mother. How her presence was still felt on the field all the way to the state championship this past season, thanks to his teammates and coaches. That powerful story is up next. Welcome back. Last summer, a local football player's whole life changed in one devastating instant. But as Caleb No explains, he found gratitude through the love of his teammates and a seemingly impossible ending to the season.
Sometimes there are more questions than answers.
Seriously, I've stuck to this. I don't know. We don't know what happened. We probably won't really ever know.
But how do you measure the impact of a life?
I can't even put it into words. He came in my room and he said, "You need to get out of bed." And I was like, "What's the problem?" He's like, "You need to get up now." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Your mom's dead."
July 3rd, 2020, 17-year-old Artie Steinmetz lost his mother. Danielle Steinmetz died unexpectedly in her sleep.
I write her initials and Mom on my wrist tape.
A football player at Beechwood High School, every Friday night, Artie kept his mother's memory right there. And even though on senior night she could not be there physically to walk him to midfield,
I mean, obviously it was a big deal to me, just like, you know, not having her there with me.
Millions of reasons to be thankful.
that's when he realized her spirit was still alive as much as ever.
I was the last football senior in the line.
Our final football senior is Artie Steinmetz.
Coach Rash came up to my dad and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna walk with you." And my dad was like, "What?" And he said, "We are gonna walk with you."
In honor of his mother, every senior football player circled back and walked Artie onto the field.
I mean, I started crying. I mean, we were walking across the field. I'm tearing up.
3 months later, his mother's presence would be felt once more, this time at the state championship. In a tie game, as time ran off the clock, the opposing team kicked a field goal to win it. The ball hit off the upright and the crossbar before falling to the turf, no good. Then in double overtime, up by 1, Beechwood blocked an extra point to win the state title.
We won that game, and I looked at Coach Rash, and he grabbed my wrist, and he started pointing at her initials, and we kind of just looked at each other, and we just were looking up. That's how I know, like, she's right there, and I don't have to worry about anything, because I know she's going to get me.
So how do you measure the impact of a life?
I don't know where I would be if she was never my mom.
Not through time, but instead through appreciation, and that lives on forever. In Fort Mitchell, Caleb No, WCPO 9 Sports.
Wow, wow. Artie told us he wants everyone who sees this story to take a moment to appreciate the things you have and the things you're thankful for in life. We certainly agree with you there. Well, you just heard my next guest. My guy Caleb No joins the show. Caleb, I always like to ask this question. How did this story come about?
Yeah, it's a great question, actually. First of all, I remember covering that state championship game. It was our photographer, Philip, that was there, but I remember anchoring that night and just thinking, what an impossible ending to this football game. I mean, that kind of thing never happens. I mean, you don't see blocked extra points, and you also don't see double doinks. Unbelievable. But then I got to talking about that with some of my family members who are pretty involved in the Beechwood community. I have a cousin who's a cheerleader at Beechwood, and we were just casually talking one night, and they mentioned, yeah, that group of seniors is super tight. They were talking about how that group of seniors has come up their whole lives together and everything. And they said, and they just casually told me, they said, one of the seniors had his mom tragically and unexpectedly pass away. And they were like, you should have seen how the senior class came together to kind of lift him up and pick him up. And I'm getting chills just thinking about this right now. But they said that, and I was like, I'm getting chills thinking about it now. I got chills thinking about it then. I was like, we need to let people know about this. I mean, that is a special, special thing. And then to hear Artie talk about the way that he connected that state championship finish to his mom's memory and how he had his mom's initials on his wrist. I mean, everything about that, again, gives me chills right now thinking about it. And I'm just glad and proud that we were able to show that story to everybody out there. Not only, to keep the memory of Artie's mother and, alive and all that moving forward, but also just so that everybody out there understands how special of a story this really was.
Very special indeed. Caleb, what did you learn about Artie and the Beechwood community after spending the time? Yeah,
it's a great question. I mean, the thing about Artie is he is so, his perspective is so far beyond his years. He's an 18-year-old kid. He just turned 18 recently, but his perspective and his outlook on things is just unbelievable. I mean, what he's gone through, I don't even want anybody to have to try to imagine that. It's unimaginable, but to see his perspective and the way that he's decided to look at things, he's gone about it from the standpoint of, he wants to appreciate the time that he did get to spend with his mom. And you heard a soundbite in that story where he said, I don't know what I would do, and I'm paraphrasing, but I don't know what I would do if I never had her as a mom. So his perspective here is like, yes, he wishes he could have had her around for his entire life, or certainly a lot longer than he did. But man, the 17 years that he got to spend with her, he is appreciating that as much as possible. And man, just the way that the Beechwood community came together and took one of their own. I mean, he's from that area, took one of their own, lifted him up and said, look, we're sorry, but we got you. Like, we got your back. It's inspiring to see that, uplifting to see that.
Caleb, just as I told you this week, great storytelling. Appreciate your care with this one. You take care. Until next time. All right, we'll be right back to wrap up the show. Welcome back. Well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, but we got to go. I'd like to thank my guests Mike Daniels, Terry Nelson, and Caleb No for joining me tonight. And thank you to my village who helped me put this all together. Thank you for watching. Let's do it again next Sunday. Until then, have a good night and a very blessed week.